Welcome to Atlantic City, New Jersey, and historic Boardwalk Hall, just yards from the Atlantic Ocean. This historic building for years hosted the Miss America pageant. Many dreams were realized inside its walls. Tonight, another Cinderella dream will come true. George Washington and Rhode Island meet in the Atlantic 10 final. The winner gets a crown and a bid to the NCAA tournament. Two teams that few would have picked to meet taking the floor in Boardwalk Hall tonight. Will it be Rhode Island or George Washington taking home the A-10 crown? Welcome back to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. The 2007 Atlantic 10 Championship. The favorites, UMass and Xavier, already knocked out, and so instead an early Cinderella story. Two teams, both of whom will have to win tonight to get an NCAA bid. Rhode Island and George Washington. The Rams upsetting top-seeded Xavier, the upset of the tournament by far, 79-71. George Washington last night in a 60-40 victory over St. Louis, holding the Billikens to just 13 field goals total and 32.5% shooting. So welcome to Atlantic City. No Burt Parks, not even Regis Philbin, just Dave Barnett and Tim McCormick, but we're glad to have you with us. The story, without question, is the team picked 11th before the season began, the Rhode Island Rams, and Jim Barron, now a three-time A-10 Coach of the Year, who has two championships to worry about tonight. This one, obviously, and the one involving his son, Billy, who is a sophomore in high school playing for the Rhode Island State Championship as we speak. They are tipping off. And Tim McCormick, his older son, Jimmy, playing for him tonight. So if everything goes right for the Barron family, they may have two championships to celebrate.
Yeah, and Jimmy Barron is a special story. J.J. Redick type shooter, easily the best in this conference. And his story really mirrors the matchup that we're seeing here tonight. You've got two underdogs. And before the season, Rhode Island had lost 5 starters. They were picked 11th in the A-10. And on the other bench, GW, they lost 4 starters to professional basketball. And I would call this game right here improbable and in transition.
Our American Century Star Watch tonight will feature for Rhode Island their leading scorer. Up front, they'll rely on Will Daniels, 5th leading scorer in the conference, and Carl Elliott, maybe the top defender individually in the conference for George Washington.
Both players, all-conference recognition. Carl Elliott is the point guard that needs to control the pace of this.
Starting lineups, and for George Washington, they made a lineup change late in the season that has sparked a 7-game winning streak, their longest of the year. Elliott Rice all the season long, top backcourt in the A-10 with Hollis, a freshman, moving in alongside Kunja and Akambade, and Parfait Bate with Barron in the backcourt, Will Daniels up front with Kaheem Seawright and Daryl Harris. And George Washington has a streak going. They have won the last 5 meetings, 7 of the last 9. Rice leading back on January 27th with 27 points. Rhode Island was in the running for the top seed in this tournament until they lost their last 3 regular season games. But what a recovery. They defeated Fordham night before last, and then the top seed, the heavy favorite Xavier, last night, and that ended a 12-game series losing streak to the Musketeers. Frank Scagliato, Mike Roberts, Gene Steratore, our officials. We're set to go for the Atlantic 10 Championship. And the Rams controlled the tap. And Parfait Bate from Cameroon, high school ball in Louisville, Kentucky, a 3-year starter, finishing up his junior year. This is Seawright, guarded by Dokun Akambade. And immediately a steal by Carl Elliott. No want a better bet in the A-10 to come away with the steal. That's his 79th of the year. And it leads to the 62nd three-pointer of the year by Maurice Rice.
Yeah, start off man-to-man. These are two high-tempo, fast-paced teams. They want to defend, be able to create turnovers, and play in transition.
Rhode Island going for its 20th win. They were 10-6 as the 4th seed coming in. 1 game behind George Washington, the number 3 seed. Here's Barron with his first 3, retired.
I did mention J.J. Redick like form, didn't I?
Yep. Apt comparison. 95th three-pointer of the year by Barron. Just a sophomore.
Zone defense. Both these teams will mix it up.
Rams drop back to a 2-3. And we've had nothing but threes so far as Damian Hollis sends in his 22nd of the year. Traveling as the Rams go inside to Harris.
You know, bit surprised by the outstanding three-point start. 3 games, 3 days. You would anticipate that long-range jump shot would be a little inconsistent with fatigue in your legs.
So far, not the case. Rams go back to man-to-man defense. And the tip in by Akinbadi. Makes it 8-3 Colonial. And they slap on some full-court pressure after the make. The pull-up by Will Daniels. His first shot rebounded by Hollis, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale.
So these teams met earlier at Rhode Island.
And Elliott straight on. So 4 of the 5 GW starters have scored. They're 4 of their first 5 from the field.
And in that matchup, George Washington played with a great deal of poise down the stretch to pull out a very close victory in which they made 4 threes in 5 consecutive trips to pull out a close one.
Hollis, a terrific job guarding the inbounds pass. He got a hand on it, and then he knocked it out off the inbounds passer for the 3rd Ram turnover. And you're 6'8", 198, you can do that. Became a starter just 9 days ago at Charlotte, his 5th start tonight. A late season move that has really worked wonders for Carl Haas. Akinbadi inside. And a terrific start for GW. Daniels driving in and fouled by Hollis. Will Daniels, a 76% free throw shooter. Rhode Island slightly better at the line than GW this year. They're 72%. And Daniels, 17 points per game, first team All-A-10 selection. Those of you just joining us, welcome to Atlantic City and the Atlantic 10 Championship. Dave Barnett and Tim McCormick at Boardwalk Hall. And a terrific start by George Washington as Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods rolls on with a somewhat surprising A-10 finals matchup. 3 and 4 seeds have made it. George Washington and Rhode Island clearly the story of this tournament by knocking off number 1 seed heavy favorite Xavier last night.
And a fun matchup, Dave. A fast game is guaranteed. These teams like to press, attack, and then get it and go.
George Washington hitting 4 of its first 5 attempts, including 2 from three-point land. Damian Hollis, late season addition as a freshman to the starting lineup. And a nice feed goes inside for Rob Diggs, the man he replaced in the starting lineup. But the Rams come right back and they work it inside for Daniels' first 2.
Over the last 4 years, GW has won 95% of their games, and I believe they have a big advantage because they've played under the bright lights in this situation.
Maurice Rice with the miss, GW's scoring leader. A-10 6th man of the year last year, finally enjoying a starting role this year. And up with the 3, Joe Mbang, a junior from Cameroon. 47-3. Rams can go up and down the lineup and find plenty of three-point shooters.
Both of these teams, a very deep defensive playbook. Little zone defense here, but you're going to see a lot of man traps and presses.
Diggs blows the layup. He was about to get his 2nd straight. And Parfait Bate in transition inside for Kaheem Seawright. Timeout, Carl Haas. And after running out to the early advantage, George Washington challenged in transition by the Rams. Their lead is
Do you miss the hard-hitting action of American football? Then check out the high-speed action of the Arena Football League. It's got all the intensity of NFL football at twice the speed. More hits, more passing, more scoring, and more thrills. This week, the Los Angeles Avengers battle the Orlando Predators. Live Monday, Arena Football on ESPN.
7-0 run by Rhode Island after George Washington opened up a 14-4 lead. Jimmy Barron, the sophomore son of the head coach Jim Barron, who has 2 championships to worry about tonight in the family. A-10 Coach of the Year. His sophomore in high school son Billy, as we speak, is playing for Bishop Hendrickson High School in Warwick, Rhode Island, for the state championship against Providence Hope. And he is going to be getting periodic updates on that game as he tries to take the A-10 championship here in Atlantic City. And a timeout with 15:43 in the first half. Fast pace here as expected.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
Springsteen Country, George Washington Band playing their version of Born to Run, and that's kind of the theme we expect here tonight. George Washington hit 6 of his first 7. They've missed their last 3. They lead by 3, but clearly the story coming into tonight, Tim, is the team picked 11th in the A-10 when the season began, Rhode Island. How did they make it here?
Well, I think that the transformation of the Rams has been an incredible story. Just like NC State, a lot of nice things in March happen where teams come out of nowhere. Last year, Rhode Island was one of the most structured offenses in the entire nation. Jim Barron knew that his returning players were very athletic, so he went down, spent time with Billy Donovan in Florida, learned about his offense, studied films of Villanova and Memphis, and he has completely changed the way the Rams attack on the offensive end.
Colonials trying to end a 7-0 Rhode Island run here after they opened up a 10-point lead. 3 times in a row they've gone in deep to Diggs. It worked the first time, not the last 2. George Washington advancing past 7th-seeded St. Louis last night, 60-40. They allowed only 13 field goals, 32% shooting, and forced 20 turnovers. And for Rhode Island, they ended a 12-game losing streak at the hands of a Xavier team that had beaten them by 26 in their regular season closing 3-game losing streak. 6th-year head coach Carl Hobbs, longtime UConn assistant and former Husky player, finalist last year for the Naismith Coach of the Year award for taking GW to a perfect regular season, 16-0. But not a perfect ending. They were knocked off in the quarterfinals and then in the second round of the NCAA. Jimmy Barron in transition, driving it up. Close to a goal, 10 followed up by C-Rod.
No deception with the game plan here. Grab the ball and run. You're going to see 7 or 8 different defenses from both squads. And I love the zone here. If you're playing GW, you pack it in and you live with their perimeter.
Again, they go low to Diggs. And he saves it. They work it around and get an open shot in the baseline, which rims out by Rice. Put back up and in by Regis Kunja, the transfer from LSU from Central Africa. Ending a 9-0 Rhode Island run. Will Daniels will take another trip to the line.
And believe me, Will Daniels is salivating with the thought of playing against GW. He told me before the game, with their extreme ball pressure, it opens up so many gaps and seams. He said he's going to spend his game playing at the rim.
21 points, 6 boards in the quarterfinal win over Fordham. Just 9 points, 5 boards last night in the semis.
And if you're looking for a comparison, he's a Billy Owens type player, about 6'8", nice handle, will share the ball, very good off the dribble. Has really surprised a lot of people in this league with his performance so far this season.
Junior from Hyde Park, New York, first team All-Atlantic 10. 17.1 points per game. And 5 of the 15 for URI as Lamont Ulmer, freshman from Hamden, Connecticut, checks in.
You really don't see that very often, where a guy will not make any team's honorable mention, all rookie teams for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, bam, he's first team all-league.
No one anticipating his rise this year. Rice misses. Washington does have balance. 6 different players have scored for the Colonials, but after they hit 6 of their first 7, they have really cooled off. 1 for their last 8.
Here's their X set. The guards make an X through the paint. Very uncomplicated motion, easy to deal with.
Aaron's pass intended for Mbang, knocked out. Started 10-3. Best start ever in the A-10 before their closing 3-game losing streak, which included a 98-72 blowout at Xavier. Up with the block, Damian Hollis. Also lost by 9 to Fordham and by 2 at Richmond. That dropped them from competition for the top seed down to the 4th seed. Hollis with an air ball.
Doesn't this resemble a little YMCA with some zone trap principles?
Quite a bit. And Noah Wilmore rejecting Barron. Mbang shot ends up out of bounds. Well, and it's as expected so far. Haven't played 7 minutes yet. George Washington already has 16 shots up.
With Carl Hobbs graduated, Mike Hall with the Wizard, Pops Mensah-Bonsu with the Mavericks, J.R. Pinnock, Omar Williams. He went to their graduation and said, I was proud, I smiled, but I still wanted to cry at the same time, thinking about trying to coach without those guys.
Only 3 seniors on this team picked 5th after winning the last 2 A-10 regular season titles. 2 years ago, they also won the tournament. And Hollis, now with 5, became a starter just 9 days ago. This is the 5th start of his collegiate career. Remember, the all A-10 rookie team. Traveling on Ulmer. GW in its 4th A-10 final. 1-2, winning 2 years ago. Rhode Island, only crown in the tournament, came 8 years ago when Lamar Odom beat the buzzer in Philadelphia to knock off Temple in 1999.
35-footer.
Well, we got a chance to measure that. Having seen it, I'm not sure it's 35 feet, maybe 25, but the result was the same. Pass through the hands of Akinbade. Seawright gets the steal. Mbang. Count the 3 and a foul inside. Joe Mbang from Monroe Community College in New York. And a product of Cameroon in Africa. So we'll see the basket. We'll see if we see the contact inside. And they put it on Keith Cochran, freshman who has just checked in for Rhode Island from New Haven, Connecticut. Rams tied on at 3 at 18. They have hit 3 of their first 4 threes. Jump stop close to a travel for Elliott. He thought close to a foul. There's Parfait Bate. That sounds like something you could buy on the boardwalk.
Tasty.
Jumper by Cochran. His first 2. Missed the first 9 games this year. He had NCAA clearinghouse issues after coming out of Winchendon Academy. And the first lead for the Rams at 20 to 18.
I really like motion offense in March.
Diggs, and that's been at least 5 or 6 times now they've gone to that look. Twice it has been successful. Diggs in the 5-game winning streak hitting 66% of his shots. A lot of them obviously like that one. Offensive foul on Bate, his first. Well, coming up, Rhode Island looking for its first title here since they partied in 1999. We'll look back when we return. Texas almost blown out opening 5 minutes by Baylor last night in the quarterfinals. Well, Lamar Odom played only 1 year at Rhode Island, and he brought home a tournament title with this three-pointer at the buzzer. That looked like 35 feet. Let's call it 30. Let's be generous. Point is, they knocked off Temple in Philly 62-59, and that remains the only A-10 tournament championship for the Rams. Temple taking the next two. Xavier every other year beginning in 2002. 2 years ago, George Washington. So next year, look out for the Musketeers.
I agree. And when Reese Davis was talking about Kevin Durant, and we knew that Lamar Odom's action was coming up, a lot of comparisons, long, lanky, can go inside and out. And that was a really nice stretch for Rhode Island. Remember the year before, they had Tyson Wheeler and Katino Mobley and went to the NCAA.
Turn around, Regis Kunja, tipped in from nowhere by Hollis. Boy, what an active freshman he is, and Rob Diggs hits the floor hard, maybe face first.
Wow, and this was really Carl Hobbs' #1 concern all along. By losing all their seniors, let's see if you can see the elbow coming down. Got it right square in the hands, bro.
Mbang got him.
Yep, but Carl Hobbs said that his big guys are so thin. If you look at Akinbade and Diggs, that they're just not beefy guys. And in this conference where they're getting a higher caliber of big power forwards and strong centers, he didn't know if they'd be able to hold up.
Yeah, he, in fact, singles out Diggs. He says he is the typical GW guy. Long, lean, athletic, probably a little underweight at 6'8", 187. But this program, he says, develops its talent, and Rob Diggs emblematic of that. You see the elbow from Joe Mbang as the shot by Damian Hollis went through.
Did that look a little vicious to you?
I don't know if he knew Diggs was there. I'm not ready to call that even intentional, much less vicious.
And that's a blow to GW, because he's a player with his length and athleticism that will thrive in this game. GW has superior guards in my estimation. I give Rhode Island an edge on the front line with their balance. I think they're going to take a look at the monitor. They do have the ability to see if this is a vicious, intentional blow. Watch it right here. Bam. That's Joe Frazier right there.
On that extra look there, it's Kobe Bryant-like. He's done that twice now, earning him suspensions. So the officials now, Robert Scagliotta, Steratore, discussing the fate of Joe Mbang.
I'm sorry, I just don't see any way that you need to get your elbow that fast behind you. That did not seem like an inadvertent play to me.
Coach is called over, included in the discussion.
Are you a lip reader?
No. This arena has been a historic site of boxing matches, so there's been some bloodshed here, in addition to some crowns awarded for decades over the Miss America pageant. And they've decided just to warn Joe Mbang.
Inconclusive. I like what GW is doing here. This little diamond full court pressure. It's just a tool to try to speed up the game.
Beating it at the back end was Cothran, who draws contact by Hollis, his second and the team's third. And 9 Eastern. More college basketball here on ESPN from Madison Square Garden. Final, the Big East Championship matches the top seed Georgetown Warriors and number 3 seeded Pittsburgh Panthers.
Hibbert and Gray, the marquee matchup. If you like your big men, if you love post play, that's one. And Roy Hibbert has got to bring it today. He was very, very passive last night in the semifinals.
Cothran hits both. Just a 60% free throw shooter. Kahim C right back in. Sophomore from Uniondale, New York. And a tie game. George Washington ran out to a 10-point lead, hit 6 of his first 7 shots before the Rams catch their breath.
Well, guaranteed fast-paced, high-scoring, high-octane. These teams are on a 90-point pace so far.
This is Travis King, a freshman from New Haven, Connecticut. Rice back out to King. He pulls up, way overshot from about 14 feet. Cold spell continues for the Colonials. Daniels with the three.
And I would anticipate another possession of man-to-man defense. It forced Rice into an inadvertent shot in the last trip.
That's 8 points on 3 shots from Will Daniels. Can't get a whole lot more efficient than that.
Jimmy Barron with an NBA attitude. You try something and it works, you go right back.
This on the baseline. Maurice Rice with only 3 points. Carl Elliott only 2. And a carrying violation on Bate. That's the biggest problem for Rhode Island. Their 6th turnover. They forced only 2.
Sometimes when you're fatigued, 3 games in 3 days, held the ball on his hip for a second, your mind is fresh. You're all excited. You're thinking about a dance, and your body's just, they're not quite reacting as quick as your mind wants you to.
Brain is willing, body not quite. See it all the time. The team's playing 3 games in 3 nights. What it takes to get to this point in the A-10 tournament. 3rd and 4th seeds for an NCAA bid. Loser, no doubt, headed to the NIT. And Kunja drives for his second 2. Youngest of 8 from Central Africa.
And this is the trip that Jimmy Barron needs a shot. He made the first triple of the game, has not touched it since.
Inside, Seawright. Back out, Daniels. Going for back-to-back 3-pointers. Barron stealing the rebound from Kunja and fouled as Hollis reaches in to try and swat it away. Well, they'll call it on Kunja. His first would have been Hollis's 3rd. This is Boardwalk Hall, part of the historic Atlantic City Convention Center. And the first A-10 championship held here. Dave Barnett, Tim McCormick. Rhode Island, the biggest surprise in this tournament, picked 11th preseason. They upset the heavy favorite, the top seed Xavier, last night. A team that had beaten them 12 straight meetings. Nice drive and scoop by Lamont Ulmer. And Rhode Island matching its biggest lead, 27-24. George Washington trying to get something in transition as Carl Elliott draws contact.
If you can get by the first line of defense, there's nothing back there. Last season, Pops Mensah-Bonsu was waiting to protect the rim. This year, there's nobody back there.
These will be the first free throws of the night for the Colonials. First foul on Jimmy Barron. Carl Elliott, the only returning starter from the team last year that swept the regular season 16-0 through the A-10. And then was knocked off in the quarterfinals in Cincinnati. Still made the NCAAs. Best season in half a century for George Washington.
Yeah, pretty amazing, Dave. We've enjoyed the work of Elliott over the last couple years. I just can't fathom how he's 3rd team All-League. That's an embarrassment because that kid is just a stud.
That will be the 3rd foul on Hollis, and that will be a break for Rhode Island. He leads GW scoring with 7. Rhode Island by 1, under 8 minutes in the first half. And Reese here, Rhode Island by 1, 27-26. They just got Damian Hollis out of the game on his 3rd foul. Well, is Xavier looking at anything worth worrying about not making this championship game? I can't believe that they're not already into the NCAAs. 24 wins, 33 RPI wins over Villanova, K-State, VCU, champion in their Colonial Conference.
Yep. They beat Arizona State, not a marquee win, but a power conference school. Yeah, I think that Xavier is definitely, and I'm a huge fan. of the way Sean Miller runs his program. And they're on the list with Butler, Nevada, Southern Illinois, real good mid-teams that have not taken care of their business now, but they did in the non-conference and deserve a bid.
Well, if you're not a Xavier fan, but you're a fan of the A-10, that's the best thing that could have happened for this conference, because it should guarantee 2 bids.
Yeah, and I don't believe that UMass is in that position. Travis Ford is turning that program, but they only had that Louisville victory.
This by Rice, followed up and in by Akinbade. And the twosome of Rice and Elliott with only 1 basket apiece. 4 points for Elliott, including their only 2 free throws.
Right. High energy, but tissue paper softness in the paint. Really little on the defensive boards for either team.
Barron, tough luck. He hit the first shot, a 3 for the Rams. Daniels follows this up. He has 12. Improved his scoring and shooting every year. Junior from FDR High School and FDR's hometown of Hyde Park, New York. First team all-conference. Elliott with a quick trigger that time. Made a good decision, Tim, by pulling himself out of the draft after his junior season last year. Steal, Travis King ahead for Elliott.
I couldn't agree with you more. Carl Hobbs today said that he is a definite NBA player down the road. Reminds him a lot of Chauncey Billups with not quite as good a jump shot. I'd say it's a long ways away, but he's very athletic, very strong, I think deceptively quick.
His biggest fan in this league may be an opposing head coach, Phil Martelli of St. Joe's, who has vowed to recommend him to everybody he knows in the NBA. Missed by Darrell Harris. GW with the ball on a 1-point lead as we approach the 6-minute mark of the first half in Atlantic City. The Atlantic 10 Tournament Championship. Jumper from the corner is long from Rice. Still with only an early 3. Aaron likewise only an early 3. And a long 3 not there for Daniels. Maurice Rice pushing in transition. Kunja fouled by Daniels. It'll be his first, just the team's 4th.
Yeah, both of these teams love the speed game. GW gets their transition off of steals and block shots at the top of the A-10 in both categories. On the other bench, Rhode Island really runs well. They get theirs off defensive rebounds. 2 different ways to get the speed game.
Jim Barron, the A-10 Coach of the Year for the 3rd time. Won it with St. Bonaventure in '95. First of 2 with Rhode Island in '03. Only Phil Martelli and John Calipari are also 3-time winners of that award.
Barron is the only coach to ever take 2 different A-10 schools to the championship.
And 2 championships to keep track of tonight. He's going to be updated throughout the contest. That may be an update note. In fact, looking at right here is son Billy, a sophomore at Bishop Hendrickson High School in Warwick, Rhode Island. They're playing Providence Hope for the Rhode Island State Championship tonight. They tipped off at the same time this game tipped off. 6 for Kunja, 6-0 Colonial run. I can't even begin to imagine what that must be like as a father. You're a coach of one son, and you have no control over your other son, and they're both having the biggest games of their career tonight. You can only be one place.
Well, his wife, Cindy, is really the rock of the family. She's helped coach. She's been a bus driver, getting the kids to their AAU games, and it's really a team effort. I would guess that Jim may get a chance to coach his other son. Can you imagine the recruiting that goes on when you're trying to convince your son? Maybe the letter of intent was finalized at the dinner table between the entree and dessert.
Son, you want to go to college for free? One guess as to how that's going to work. Slam Akinbade. 8 points, GW recovering. They started strong, 14-4. Now opening up a 5-point lead, and Dokan Akinbade 4 for 4. Barron settling for an NBA range 3. What have they done to shut him down since he made Rhode Island's first shot?
Yeah, they locate him early and they never leave. I want to talk about the short corner. It's right here and in the shoot around today. Right there and right there are the 2 holes in this Ram defense. Carl Hobbs said if we get the ball in the middle, the short corner is wide open. I would anticipate they're going to try to go back to it.
Second foul on Will Daniels.
Man-to-man.
King beating Barron with no problem, and then Ulmer from nowhere swats it away. It's saved by Elliott. He stepped out.
The term that I would use to describe this game is incredible high energy. Fundamentally, not a lot of toughness inside, no post play at all, but the players are just getting after. This is like a UNLV running rebel type game.
They're playing their third in 3 nights. Full of everybody who made it here. Mbang. Knew that one was short. Rebounded by Elliott. 2 Rams back in transition defense. Inside, Akinboni reverses. He has 10 to lead George Washington, and they're back up by 7. Timeout, Jim Barron.
Carl Hobbs is a huge fan of North Carolina's fast break. 2 years ago, he took a trip to Chapel Hill and he watched the way that Roy Williams was able to get his big guys out in transition. They love to run, and there's another attack of the short corner. Absolutely no resistance defensively inside for the Rhode Island Rams.
A 10-0 run on the board for GW in its 4th A-10 championship game. In a league they have absolutely dominated over the last couple of years. They've won 29 of their last 34 in A-10 play. But they have never made 3 straight NCAA tournaments, and that's what they can accomplish by winning tonight. That's in 93 seasons of basketball. Never 3 straight NCAA bids. 8 turnovers by Rhode Island and 15 to 3 points off turnovers. 9th turnover here. Mbang travels.
Now, you may say, how are these guys able to run up and down when this is their 3rd game? I actually think it's easier to just run up and down as opposed to grinding it out, banging inside, running off screens. They're running just north-south.
Nobody looks winded yet. Kunja still. George Washington get anything they want when they go inside. Another Ram turnover, right hurrying it the other way and climbing to get the rejection. Mbang. Pull up by Bate. Mbang hustles down for the board and draws a foul. And now they have to quickly be separated because some bodies got tangled.
Mbang needs to chill because he's already been warned, and he, you know, that was not a big deal. I mean, that's a hard foul. It's a good play.
And how many warnings is he going to get? 3:38 remaining in the first half. GW by 9. And it was indeed a hard foul. Mbang taking exception. And Reese Davis, look forward to that at halftime. Meanwhile, these officials, Mike Roberts, Frank Scagliotta, and Gene Steratore, have had their hands full tonight. They've already had to warn Joe Mbang. And as he comes down with this rebound, a hard foul put on him by Regis Kunja, but I think nothing but a hard foul, and yet it almost erupted.
Yeah, a couple of macho men inside, but Mbang has to let that go. That is a very good foul inside. You're not going to let a guy get a layup. He goes right across the arms, and I think that right now the referees are talking to the coaches. That's a stud right there. That's a big, strong guy, and the energy and the emotions are running high. He's built more like Antonio Gates than a basketball player, but he has to just pick himself up, go make his free throws, and be happy with the fact that you helped your team.
Jim Barron ought to be happy with the fact that Kahim Seawright alertly guided Mbang away from what he wanted to do, which was go after Regis Kunja. Having already been warned, they don't want to do without Joe Mbang the rest of the way. So after another extended discussion by the officials, Mbang will go to the free throw line. The last 9 possessions by Rhode Island have been fairly disastrous. They have missed all 4 of their shots and turned it over 5 times. Can they maintain this pace? I mean, it's the pace they want, but is it the pace they need?
I think that a faster pace helps Rhode Island. Looks like there's a technical foul, and I could not disagree with this more. I think that it was an excellent foul by Regis Kunja.
Wow, that is also his 3rd personal. He didn't do anything, I think, comparable to what Mbang did to only get his warning. He threw an elbow, and Mbang gets both. So now, Kunja with 8 points, now 3 fouls, 2 personals plus the technical, which Jimmy Barron, a 90% free throw shooter, will take and make.
Well, and what a shooter he is. His girlfriend is his personal rebounder, and I think that's a great idea. I went to a basketball camp, and they always told us that if you find a cute girlfriend that can rebound for you, you always know where she's at.
Life is good. What else do you need?
She played high school basketball more as a very good player and an outstanding rebounder. How hard would it be rebounding for Jimmy Barron, though? You just stand under the net and falls through and you kick it back out.
He made 51 consecutive free throws in games. Moore was not rebounding those 51 straight until he missed on the December 30th. In their loss at Kansas. So Rhode Island getting 3 free throws. And Mbang with another offensive rebound, but knocked out of bounds and touched last by Seawright.
A very nice response by Jimmy Barron's team, and he's mixing up his defense. He's going really far into the playbook, and looks like a little full court man-to-man pressure. Once again, not necessarily to generate steals, but just to keep GW guessing and try to keep them out of a flow offensively. So far, Mo Rice has not gotten off to a quick start. He's vital. He's critical if GW is going to continue to win this game.
Just an early 3, and that's it. Carl Hobbs goes very small here. 4 guards and Dokun Akinbade. Noah Wilmore has come in after Kunja leaves following the technical with 3 fouls. Travis King, first time we've had to mention the shot clock for either team is down to 4. And Carl Elliott comes up short. Rhode Island had a rough stretch, but Ulmer continues their run back within 4. They have a 10-possession stretch of 5 turnovers and 0 for 4 shooting. The 3 free throws after the foul on Akinbade, the foul on Kunja, sparking this Ram comeback. Rice gets the roll. But that's just 5 points on 2 for 9 shooting from Maurice Rice, their scoring leader. And he broke Wilt Chamberlain's Philadelphia high school scoring record. Elliott transition. King, Wilmore all alone for 3. Akinbade. Out of bounds and touched last by Mbang.
You know, rough day on Thursday for Maurice Rice. You're going to enjoy his mid-range game. The bus from GW stopped in Philly. He got off the bus and met his mom at a stop. Went to his grandmother's funeral. The family drove him to the game, and he scored 16 that night.
That's a lot in 1 week. Your grandmother's funeral and 3 tournament games. Elliott short on the reverse. Conference championship, NCAA tournament berth at stake. Wanting to make it for his 3rd straight year. Fumble out of bounds, overthrown for Barron.
A lot of contributions so far in this game. 9 guys have scored. Everybody's active on the glass. Mbang having a very solid floor game with 8 and 4.
Rams scoring leader coming in. Also their leader tonight with 12 points, Will Daniels. Barron just 1 for 6. That's just 2 for 9. Wilmore has missed twice from that same spot. And Kaheem Seawright pulled it down. 1 minute to go in the first half. And bang, misses the 3. Your Antonio Gates comparison is apt. He's 6'7", 225, and he's built like an NFL tight end. Stolen away by Rice. Wilmore puts it down.
This is the only way GW is scoring. Points off turnovers, and then off the dribble any time that the Rams go man-to-man. I would not think we're going to see any man-to-man defense by Rhode Island in this game.
Boy, and an ugly turnover here as Ulmer takes his eyes off the ball. Points off turnovers, Tim, 19-3. George Washington. Otherwise, they're being run out of the gym. And instead, they lead by 8. They have 15 more shots up than do the Rams. 19-42, 45%. Rhode Island, 11 of 27, 41%. Rhode Island staying in it by getting to the line with their 10 for 12. George Washington just 4 for 4. 8 seconds and a half. Elliott with an Akinbade screen. Tried to bank that. Whether he tried it or not, that's what happened. And Wilmore airball follow. End of the first half in Atlantic City. George Washington, despite not much from their leading scorer, Maurice Rice. They have 8 from Carl Elliott and Regis Kunja. 10 by Dokan Akinbade, their surprising scoring leader. And Rhode Island, with Will Daniels, as usual, leading with 12. But 15 turnovers, that's more than they average per game. So we know what Jim Barron's going to discuss at halftime. 44-36, GW halfway to a third straight NCAA. Let's send it to Reese Davis, Digger Phelps, Jade Billis, and Hubert Davis for the Cisco halftime report.
It's game time. ESPN, baby. Let's go!
Fast-paced and physical in the A-10 championship game. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. George Washington, an early and late run to lead by 8, 44-36. Early up by as many as 10. Dave Barnett and Tim McCormick. And the thing that I keep going back to is the 19-3 advantage in points off turnovers. I haven't seen that big a spread in any game this year.
Dave, this is the story of the game. Against a very good defensive front for GW, would Rhode Island look poised? The answer is definitive no. They're on pace for 30 turnovers. I have never heard of a team winning a championship giving the ball away that much. Another question, Rhode Island has to get tougher on the glass. In the first half, GW had 10 offensive rebounds. I think that so far the Rams are fortunate to be down only 8 points.
Their ball to begin the second half. They've been outshot 43% to 41%. They have 17 fewer shots up because of those turnovers. They start the half with a miss on the hook by Seawright. And out of bounds off Darrell Harris. Our first half stats presented by Guinness. And 15 turnovers, forcing only 3, the story.
Guinness, and the defense by GW was brilliant.
Oh, I get that. Okay.
It took a while.
A little bit slow.
I was feeling like a loser. I tried to say something funny. You didn't even get it.
Give me 30, 40 seconds. Usually I'll catch on. Eventually. Carl Elliott into traffic. Parfait Bate. Fouled in transition by Travis King.
Man, did you see him changing? He was like Ben Johnson in the 100.
Well, hopefully his blood test would be cleaner.
Shame on you.
First foul on King. Jimmy Barron only one field goal. It was the first of the game for the Rams. He's rejected flat-footed by Akinbade.
The Barron family, a couple championship games today.
Well, there is good news in the other one. Billy, the sophomore at Bishop Hendrickson, and they're leading the Rhode Island State Championship game over Providence Hope at the half, 35-30. Billy Barron with 8 points in that one. So he has outscored brother Jimmy 8-4. Regis Kunja, who left late in the first half after his second personal with a technical tacked on, so he's playing with 3. Damian Hollis also 3 first-half fouls after a tremendous start. 7 early points for GW. 3 and 4 seeds. Top 2 co-champs in the regular season knocked off. UMass in the quarterfinals, and Xavier last night, shockingly, by this Rhode Island team. They've beaten 12 straight times. Will Daniels has his second 3 and 15 points. Rams trying to end a 5-game losing streak to the Colonials and win just their second A-10 tournament crown, the other coming 8 years ago. Travis King not there for 3. Akinbade gets it back out. GW with the win makes the NCAA tournament for a program record 3rd consecutive year. At large last year, after they were knocked off in the A-10 quarterfinals, they won this tournament 2 years ago. Carl Elliott with a nice stroke and double figures.
And we see a little more patience, a little bit more half court.
Parfait Bate sets up Harris, hangs on the rim, swatted out by Akinbade to Kunja, who splits a double team and charges, and that is number 4 on Regis Kunja.
Now, Dave, when these teams played at Rhode Island, the Rams were up 10 with 9 minutes to go, and all of a sudden you saw a 1-3-1. It really took the Rams out of their offense. They didn't have any patience. Look at it right here. It's a situation where if they're able to get ball reversals, they'll be able to get any shot that they want to. Very good patience.
They give it right back on an offensive foul. First on Darrell Harris. Regis Kunja having to sit with 4. 8 points for the LSU transfer. And 3 rebounds.
After losing 80% of their offense to professional basketball, 4 seniors graduated. Really nice to see that this team is able to continue the firepower.
Hollis. GW preseason, the number 5 pick. Rhode Island, the number 11 pick in the 14-team Atlantic 10. Trying to become the biggest Cinderella story ever to make it out of this tournament. And the lowest preseason pick probably in any conference to make the NCAA tournament. Daniels with back-to-back 3s. They're within 4. The lowest seed to win a conference tournament so far is North Texas, which was 5th seeded in the Sun Belt. Rhode Island is the 4th seed here in the A-10, finishing the regular season on a 3-game losing streak, which knocked them out of that race with Xavier and UMass for the number 1 seed. Elliott knocked away. Back come the Rams in transition. See right to Harris, who's fouled. Or is he? They're going to call that just knocked out. Off Elliott. And the timeout. 15:50 remaining. Rhode Island coming back within 4. GW by 4, 46-42, with 10 points from Carl Elliott, who played a big role in their last A-10 tournament title in 05. 11 points that night on 5 of 8 from the field, as the Colonials scored a 76-67 win over St. Joseph's. Carl Hobbs' first A-10 tournament title. And Carl Elliott, along with Doku Akinbade, the leading scorers for GW here with 10 points. Their problem, though, is the same one they took advantage of from Rhode Island in the first half. They have turned it over already 3 times this half after only 3 in the entire first. And the Rams get an open look at a 3 by Barron, who knew that one was off, and Damian Hollis sails in for the board. Can the Rams win with now 17 turnovers and 1 for 7 shooting by Jimmy Barron?
Well, last night against St. Louis, GW turned them over 20 times. This is an attack-style defense. It's the best thing they do.
All year long, leading the A-10 in steals. They have 7 so far. First time shot clock's an issue this half, only the second time all night, and Rob Diggs will not get it off in time. He lost track of it when Joe Embang battled him for the dribble.
So what did you say the lowest seeded team to get into the NCAA was this year?
North Texas, 5th seed. Now, do you know anybody from?
I knew you would work this in. Congratulations on your alma mater getting into the NCAA. I'm a little bit jealous. Mine is apparently NIT bound again.
Well, once a generation, it's a great feeling. It's been 19 years for the Mean Green. And they're in. One of these 2 will be in. Maybe Michigan will play the loser in the NIT. You'll have that to look forward to.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that makes me feel good.
Another foul on Damian Hollis. And the Colonials now have 2 with 4. He joins Regis Kunja. So can GW win with this mounting foul trouble? Both teams with some severe questions to answer. Just under 15 minutes to play.
Here's that 1-3-1 again. The first half was NASCAR speed. Really slowed down quite a bit.
Daniels went for his 3rd straight 3.
Now, Dave, this is a trip that GW, I would predict, is going to go inside. They had a timeout to talk about it. 60% of their offense in the paint in the first half. They're getting away from it.
2 points in 5.5 minutes here in the second. Kunja with the 3. Not a big threat from out there. That's just his 8th 3 of the year. But the most timely shot maybe all night by the Colonials. Daniels driving in, and Akinbadi. 4th team foul on GW.
You know, Regis Kunja is such a talented player. He's long, he's athletic. He hurt his hand earlier against St. Joe's and has struggled with his jump shot. But his job is to become a poor man's version of Pops Mensah-Bonsu. Just change shots, help on defense, and then try to clean up garbage on the offensive end.
Foul called on Rice, his first. Daniels missed his first free throw and has made 6 straight since then.
I really enjoy stories like Will Daniels. Came out of nowhere to be a star and spent his summer dedicated to building his body, improving stamina, worked in the weight room, but a real big key, he worked on his nutrition to make sure that he was really putting good things in his body, and it really shows the benefits. He's had an amazing season.
He has his 10th 20-point game of the year. And Rhode Island with a +8 advantage at the line, helping them overcome, having been outscored by 13 points off turnovers. 6 minutes gone in the second half. Nothing inside so far for GW. After they got pretty much anything they wanted inside in the first half. And in the scramble for the loose ball, this will be it for Regis Kunja. He had just come back in the game, and he fouls out with 13:48 to play. And the decisive call turned out to be the technical he got late in the first half, which, of course, counts as a personal, so he's done. And he leaves with 11 points, which leads GW at this point. Also the 5th Colonial team foul. We get close to the bonus. We are a long way to go, but the foul issue, Rhode Island now can try to exploit. 4th time this year for Kunja to foul out. Elliott takes the steal and misses the driving layup. with Pete Cochran in the area. Cochran now in transition to Mbang. Lost it out of bounds.
I thought that Elliott may have wanted to give the ball up in transition to his running mate, Travis King. Now, in this set right here, when they're playing against the zone, remember the short corner. That's the area that you can attack.
Rice attacks. And the pull-up jumper giving him 7. He'd led them over St. Louis in the semis last night. Had 22 points on 9 of 14. Noah Wilmore picks up his first. And team foul number 6. Rhode Island upsetting top-seeded Xavier. 79-71 in the semis last night. GW allowing just 13 Billiken field goals and forcing 20 turnovers and beating St. Louis 60-40.
This matchup looks a lot like Bill Carmody's at Northwestern.
Boy, did Kahim Seawright just take over that time on the offensive board?
And boy, he was good last night. The 1-3-1 can take you out of your offense, but it's very hard to rebound.
Seawright, who had 17 and 8 boards in the quarterfinal. Same figures for him last night, and 6 here in the final. Rice for 3. Very slow start for Maurice Rice, the GW scoring leader, the A10 assist leader. And for the longest time in the first half had only an early 3-pointer to show for his effort. Another one-and-done possession for the Rams as Mbang misfired on 3.
I saw Maurice Rice play in high school, and he is one of the most unselfish players. He loves to score, but he accepted his 6th-man role and has really become just a very strong leader, 3rd-team All-League. I think both he and Elliott deserve higher than that.
Is there a backcourt you would rather take as a tandem in the A10? Hard to imagine. Travis King with a 3, his first points. And GW now by 11. Biggest lead of the night for the Colonials. They opened the game with a 14-4 run. The only basket in there was by Jimmy Barron, and this is his first basket since his second 3. 96 on the year. Leads the A10. He's 5th nationally. 48% beyond the arc. Just a sophomore. Brother Billy, high school sophomore, playing for the Rhode Island State Championship. His team, Bishop Hendrickson, leading Providence Hope at the half. He had 8 points. They're up 35-30. Coach Jim Barron trying to win 2 titles in the family tonight. Rice missing. Offensive board, Akinbadi back out to King, and they reset.
Boy, what a mammoth rebound that was.
Washington's possessions so much slower than they were in the first half. Partly because they're not getting the easy points off turnover. Having to earn what they get. As Elliott feeds Akinbadi. He'll go to the line. On the foul by Seawright. 3-pointers are flying. Rice has 2 for the game. His team up by 8. Well, from the 30s until just recently cited the Miss America pageant, someone will be crowned tonight as champions of the A10 tournament, part of Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Dave Barnett and Tim McCormick, a game that George Washington seems to have in control. They've led by as many as 11, but they can't completely put Rhode Island away.
Yeah, because Jimmy Barron nails it. And when some kids screw up, they get sent to the room. With Jimmy Barron, it's a little different. He was telling me today that when he was 14 years old, he had an off shooting game, really struggled. And his dad just took him in the car. He was upset. They went right to the arena, and they shot threes until 4 o'clock in the morning. Next game out, he made 9 threes, had 29 points, and everything was okay.
Wow, that's incentive. You play well or you're getting no sleep. Well, Coach knew what he was doing, and it helped to have a key to the gym, no doubt.
or the arena.
Dokun Akinbade with his first trip to the line, just a 58% free throw shooter. Sacrificed last year. He redshirted when he could have insisted on being a part of what was the best GW team in half a century. But Carl Hobbs asked him to redshirt because they wanted to bring him back as really the only upfront experience this year's team would have. And so he agreed to the plan last year. Wasn't part of the 27 wins, or the 16-0 A-10 regular season, or the 2-round trip into the NCAA tournament. But he has been a season-long starter this year as a senior. He's put him back up by 9. Native of Lagos, Nigeria.
Who else is from there?
Hakeem Olajuwon put them on the basketball map. Will Daniels inside again, unstoppable. Let's get a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update from Reese Davis.
All right, Dave, Sacramento Kings will allow Ron Artest to return to the team on Sunday. That's coming just 5 days following his arrest on suspicion of domestic violence. Kings play the Nuggets on ABC tomorrow. Kevin Durant put on another show in the Big 12 tournament, scored 26 points as Texas perhaps popped Oklahoma State's bubble. They'll play Kansas for the Big 12 title tomorrow afternoon on ESPN. SportsCenter later tonight, ESPN News All.
Will Daniels got his three-point play. And the Rams are within 6. Did Oklahoma State's trip to the semifinals of that tournament knock Texas Tech out of the NCAA?
I think personally it did. Texas Tech was knocked out earlier. Oklahoma State continues to roll. But Texas, how intriguing are they? DJ Augustine and Kevin Durant. And everybody talks about Oden and Durant. I think that it's easy to overlook another freshman that's going to be just a major pro, and that's Brandon Wright. Wow, what a year he's had.
Well, and the people who say you always go for the big talent if one is there, and let's say both Oden and Durant are there for the draft next year. We were just talking about Hakeem Olajuwon. Now, he won 2 titles for the Houston Rockets, but if they had that draft to do over again, would the Rockets have taken Michael Jordan over Olajuwon? He won 3 times as many titles? I would have to think.
I think you do. The other irony is that Oden, Durant, and Brandon Wright, how incredible is it, the 3 freshman point guards they have running along in Lawson, Conley, and Augustine. They make the job a lot easier for a young big man. Here's that 1-3-1, Dave. It's really been the difference in this game.
Normally, teams that get to this point do it with experience in the backcourt. George Washington has that aplenty, and Hollis turns it over. They had a 3-on-1. Bate the other way. Daniels got it with the left hand. He has 25 points. He has the Rams within 4. And a good thing for the Rams that Will Daniels is having a huge game because he's the only player they have in double figures. Travis King blowing down the baseline.
I think that's a mistake. In the first half, GW got to the rim whenever they wanted. Anytime the Rams went man-to-man. Zone is the way you play this team. You pack it in. I know they can make some threes, but to me, they have to prove it here with tired legs.
Daniels. Not only are his legs not tired, he actually put way too much on that 3.
Here's man-to-man again. I think GW can get to the lane.
Daniels, 1 off his career high of 26. His 10th 20-point game this year. First team All-A-10. Which Maurice Rice probably should have been. Misfires, Hawthorne board. Rice and Elliott both third-team All-A-10. Elliott defending against Hawthorne, who scores on the pull-up. 6 off the bench for the freshman from New Haven, Connecticut. Rams will not go away. They've been down by as many as 11. Outscored off turnovers 21-8. But they have a 13-5 advantage at the free throw line, and they have a 7-2 run. Shot clock under 10 for King. 7:20 to play. Elliott, one-on-one against Coffin. Air ball long. Rice beats the shot clock. Tipped up and in by Akinbadi. McKee was the first follow touching iron. Resetting the shot clock for Dauphin Akinbadi, who has 13 to lead the Colonials.
This Rams team plays a lot like Jim Barron's squad at St. Bonaventure. Very quick, very aggressive.
Daniels went for the career high. One of the easiest shots he's had tonight. And out of bounds with a foul. Foul on Ulmer. George Washington trying to keep the preseason 11th pick in the A-10 at bay. They lead by 6. Wow, if you're USC, does that make you sorry you even made the championship game? Good heavens. Will Daniels, 1 point from a career high. He has 25.
Yeah, the prolific scorer in this game. And I want you to enjoy the diversity of his attack. You know he can make the three. A star getting to the rim in transition. Very speedy. And also, he's made 8 out of 9 from the foul line. Very tough cover because of his skill set. And if you send a second defender, he's a very, very good passer.
An efficient scorer tonight with only 14 shots from the field. He's 8 for 9 at the free throw line, having made 8 straight. And almost half their points, 25 of their 56. Still the only Ram in double figures. The balanced Colonials have 4 in double figures, all between 10 and 13.
GW's done a very good job scoring out of timeouts. A nice testament to Carl Hobbs' abilities.
Elliott and Rice with 10. Kunja fouled out with 11. Akinbadi leads with 13. Hollis with the 3. And the rebound by freshman Lamont Ulmer. Rams with a chance to cut the lead in half here. If they get a good look at a 3. They are 7 of 17, 41% beyond the arc. GW 5 of 13.
Remember that St. Bonaventure team that Jim Barron had that lost in the first round of Kentucky when they had Tayshaun Prince and Keith Bogus? Yep. It was the double overtime thriller.
Yep. Seawright driving past Akinbadi. 8 for Kaheem Seawright. 4-point game.
Did you see Carl Elliott? Just got right in Hollis's face like a jockey whipping his horse down the home stretch, trying to get him fired up.
Travis King with the bank over Barron. All 7 for King. Freshman from New Haven, Connecticut here in the second half. Class Bate tried the quick 3. Very different pace in our first half when GW led 44-36.
I like this lineup here with King running the point and get your 2 best scorers, Elliott and Rice, on the wings.
King again attacking Barron. And Jimmy Barron called for his second and the team's 5th.
Don't you think that this pace has hurt Barron? Maybe not as athletic as the other players on the court. It just seems that he's a bit heavy-legged today. Jump shooters need their legs in a big way. And I remember last year, Dick Vitale spending a lot of time talking about how J.J. Redick, towards the end of the ACC season, after all the attention and all the looks, that he just didn't shoot the ball quite as well. I think it's very similar.
Well, he's simply not been a factor. He's not even halfway to his average of 14.7. The A-10 3-point shooting leader. Only 2 tonight. Elliott straight on. Getting the roll. Well, for Elliott, back up by 8. Jimmy Barron 5th in the country in 3-point percentage. GW pretty much taking him out. Damian Hollis recovering, maybe from the talking to he got on the last time down the floor. And Carl Hobbs wants timeout with 4:20 remaining. 4:20 standing between GW and a program first. A third straight trip to the NCAA tournament.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And in part by Nike Basketball and the Air Force 25.
Back on the Jersey Shore, Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. And we're right where we were at the half. GW up by 8 over Rhode Island in the A-10 championship. Carl Hobbs in his 6th year going for his 3rd straight NCAA bid. And Tim, he knows how to close the deal.
Yeah, he has that been there, done that mentality. They have the hardware back at home over the last 4 years. They've won 94% of their games. And Dave, they have a great streak of closing with games on the line.
Under Hobbs, when they have this situation leading in the last 5 minutes, they are 89-5. Would you like to fight those odds if you're Rhode Island? Well, you've already beaten some odds to even make it to this point, but you're under 4 minutes to go, down by 8. You've made up no ground in the second half. This may help, though. Steal, drive, career high. Will Daniels with 27. Couple more like that, and they can join that small group of 5 teams that have overcome this situation against Carl Hobbs' GW teams. Will Daniels, as he has all night, providing what no one else can tonight for Rhode Island. And Reese, this is an in or out situation here. George Washington or Rhode Island, only way in is by winning. Will Daniels showing the way for the Rams. Still their only double-figure score. That is amazing with 3:37 to go.
It is amazing. Isn't that Rhode on campus?
World's oldest freshman. Guess that would be Digger. Ricochet's world's 2nd oldest freshman.
Jimmy Barron was actually an assistant coach for Digger, and they played BC earlier this year, and Digger walked in and said, "Jim, get your pen. I've got some notes for you here."
Akabati pushed off. Only his first foul, team's 8th. Jim Barron does have, probably by now, the good news from the game involving his son Billy, the high school sophomore, Bishop Hendrickson, Warwick, Rhode Island. They were playing in the Rhode Island State Championship tonight, and they have defeated Providence Hope 75-48. Billy Barron with 13 points for the state champions. So there will be at least one title for the Barron family to celebrate tonight.
It's time for the other Barron brother to step up.
Cochran, 8 points off the bench for the freshman. They're back within 4. The Rams refuse to go away. Down by as many as 11. And another timeout by Carl Hobbs. He has 2 left. Rhode Island's last lead came with 7 minutes to go in the first half. That was 31-30. They have trailed twice by double figures. Out of the gate, 14-4. And here in the second half, the Colonials have built it all the way to 11. And in one respect, the Rams have taken what was the best part of GW's first half playbook and turned it against them. GW turned it over only 3 times in the first half. They've turned it over 7, make it 8 times now in the second half. So the sloppiness factor is starting to go against the Colonials. How else have the Rams managed to stay in this thing?
Well, I think that Daniels has taken this game over with his athleticism and speed. It has gone a lot slower, but the thing I like for GW is that Carl Elliott is a leader. He's been in big games. He's played in 2 NCAA tournaments, and this is his game. It's time for him to take over, not only just to score, but to make sure the young players are poised and try to get King and Rice some open shots. They've got really good guard play.
Second time this half, the Rams have been within 4. Body. Still GW scoring leader with 13. He also has 9 boards, 6 on the shot clock. Elliott, one-on-one. Taking Ulmer in and feeding Doku Akinbade. And now timeout, Jim Barron. With 2:16 remaining.
Absolutely an A-plus possession for GW. At this point, you can't trust your jump shot. Carl Elliott to the rim, getting his big guy's layup. As simple as I can put it. Whoever gets into the paint, gets fouled, gets free throws, gets layups, is going to win this game. If you try to make the comeback, if you're the Rams making jump shots, I don't believe it's going to happen.
Rhode Island in the bonus. GW will be on the next Ram foul. Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, New Jersey. This A-10 tournament here for the first of 2 straight years. And these two, the 3rd and 4th seed coming in, have given us a good show. Several times it looked as if George Washington might run away. And Rhode Island resourceful enough to end a 12-game losing streak at the hands of Xavier, the top seed last night, 79-71 in the semis. Managing to find a way to stay in this one as we approach the 2-minute mark. Another GW steal, their 10th of the game.
Thinking the game. Carl Elliott, 3rd team All-League, no way. You know what? Let's put him on the Dave and Tim 1st team All-A-10 team because he is a star. He knows how to run an offense. He leads the league in steals and assists.
He may be our A-10 player of the year, and Rice goes in and draws a foul. This will put GW into the bonus. Seawright second. 1:38 remaining. Humongous free throws here for Rice, a 72% free throw shooter with his first trip. The Rams have stayed in this game because they have gotten to the line and GW hasn't. Rice with the front end of the 1-and-1.
Different perspectives on Rice. Jimmy Barron at shoot-around called him a bulldozer and an incredible scorer. Carl Hobbs said that he is an amazing offensive machine, and he said sometimes I have to live with a couple bad shots to give him that freedom.
Attended the funeral of his grandmother in Philadelphia on Thursday. Now tries to end the week with an A-10 championship. This would be Akinbade's 2nd foul and the 9th GW team foul. Reese Rice, who broke Wilt Chamberlain's high school scoring records in Philadelphia, led the state of Pennsylvania in scoring 3 times. 27 points in the first meeting this year with Rhode Island. 22 last night to lead the win in the semis over St. Louis. And 12 points, 4 rebounds. Shaking off a 4 for 15 shooting night tonight. Will Daniels hitting the first of his 2, and his free throw streak has now reached 9 straight after he missed his first.
Well, down by 7 points. Will Daniels is going to have to do his best Lamar Odom imitation down the home stretch here. Defensively, you can't sit back because GW will be patient. You have to attack. I would expect full court pressure.
10 straight free throws, career high 29 points for Will Daniels. And another Rhode Island timeout, each team with 2. And we have College Game Day driven by State Farm coming up, followed by the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostal from Madison Square Garden. Pittsburgh and Georgetown. Anything going to stop the Hoyas in that one? They seem to have been destined.
Jeff Green is the best player in the Big East. He's so unique because he's a big-time scorer that loves to share the ball. And I think that so far the Big East has had an amazing season. 5 teams currently in the top 25. And even more so than the ACC or the Pac-10, I expect the Big East to have a great NCAA tournament. They have teams that are grinded out. There are up-tempo teams, and I think that really prepares you well for the NCAA. You don't know who you're going to play, and so you have to be used to a lot of styles, and here is that full-court pressure that we predicted.
Rams have forced 8 second-half turnovers, only 3 by GW in the first half. And getting it over the timeline is Elliott.
Got a foul.
They do with 1:12. On Parfait Bate, his third and the team's 8th.
Bate has had a very, very solid season. Doesn't score a lot of points, hasn't put anything on the board so far, but you like his 6 assists, the ability to try to get teammates involved. But I think an underwritten story in this game has been Parfait has been careless with the ball. He's also had 6 turnovers.
All 7 Travis King points this half, all 8. Carl Hobbs, even before the year began, so this is one mature freshman. Physically, he's 6'2" at 213. That's unusual. That much meat on his bones. And in terms of his basketball knowledge, only 1 of 2, 7-point game. Bate brings it up with 1:05. Barron back in. An NBA range 3, front iron, rebound. Hollis in the foul with 59.3.
Yeah, a bit quick on the shot by Jim Barron. He does have that type of range, and we may be seeing the end to an amazing story. Rhode Island, led by son Jimmy Barron and dad Jimmy Barron, was picked 11th preseason in the A-10. This is a guy that can adjust his system. He transformed the way that they play. Last year, very structured. They walk it up. He would want to call every set. But this coming team, they lost 5 seniors, and their point guard was hurt with a broken ankle. They have become up-tempo, and in the offseason, he went down and spent time with Billy Donovan. Had a chance to learn more about his system, how they get their athletes into the open court. He studied films of Villanova and Memphis. I love coaches that adapt their system to fit their players.
Damian Hollis, who became a starter 9 days ago, hits both free throws. Parfait Bate gets his first points of the night, and Rhode Island with its next to last timeout with 50.3 seconds. A-10 tournament championship. George Washington is led by as many as 11, trying for their 3rd straight trip to the NCAA tournament, their 2nd tournament championship in 3 years. Dave Barnett and Tim McCormick at Boardwalk Hall. No Burt Parks. Not even Regis and Kathy Lee, but there will be a crown awarded in 50 seconds and change.
Nice.
And it will not be the Xavier Musketeers. Rhode Island made sure of that, knocking off the favorites. 79-71 in the semis, giving them their 19th win. The biggest surprise, I think, about their run to this championship route is the way they ended the regular season with 3 straight losses and a 26-point loss to Xavier, which was the 12th straight for the Musketeers over the Rams. There had to have been a great deal of overconfidence on the part of X last night. Foul on the backcourt. Keith Cothran's 4th. George Washington picked 5th in the league, 3rd seeded coming in at 11-5 with a season-long 7-game winning streak about to become 8th. They can take care of their last-second business.
Now, the storyline last night in the game against St. Louis is that GW was able to turn over the Billikens 20 times. They held them to 40 points. In this game so far, 21 giveaways by Rhode Island led to a lot of easy transition points in the first half. That's how they won this game if they're able to hold on.
Who wants to play a team like that can smother you to that level? 41 turnovers in the semis and the finals of the conference tournament. And almost another one here as Rice knocks it out with 42.6.
Really with their athletes and their aggressiveness, they play very similar to Florida and North Carolina, where they say, we've got better athletes. We're going to outrun you. We're going to out-tough you. We're going to out-hustle you.
And we got senior guards. Barron with the 3, his 3rd 3 of the night, 97 for the year, tops in the A-10, cuts the lead to 6, Final timeout for Rhode Island with 37 and a half.
Jimmy Barron is the best shooter that I've seen this year. He hasn't shot well in this game, but I've seen him enough to know. And he told me that his favorite player, as you look at the A-10 standings, has to do with the fact that his favorite player, J.J. Redick, he watched all of his tapes last year, and his dad was able to arrange a DVD for him with every three-pointer on it that J.J. Redick made last year, and he studies it in the way that he comes off screens and he uses his teammates to get open.
That's got to be like an 8 DVD set. That's longer than the box set of The Sopranos. But he's obviously taken the lesson well. GW 2 games behind Xavier and UMass. Rhode Island tied Fordham for 4th in the regular season. Their only previous A-10 crowd 8 years ago when Lamar Odom's buzzer beater knocked off Temple in Philadelphia.
35 feet.
Let's call it a generous 30. 35 feet, you're almost at midcourt. He was nowhere near there. Elliott fouled. Seawright will put GW into the double bonus with 35.1. So it's down to the free throw shooting, and GW is 12 for 14. College game day next. They'll bring you up to date on everything else that's happened. And all the other conference tournaments, many of which are winding up today, some of which are in the semifinal round.
It'll be interesting to hear what Jay and Digger and Hubert have to say in the studio regarding Xavier and their resume. A lot of the mid-majors have not won their tournaments, namely Butler, Nevada, and Southern Illinois. I think all of them are pretty safe. I think back, though, we've been speculating on if the season ended today since January. You know, back in first of the year, we're saying, well, if the season ends today, this team would not be in. But tomorrow is the time that we can start to pencil it, and I can't wait.
George Washington putting it away at the line where their last 8 points have been scored. And they have an 8-point lead with 27.3 seconds. Counting it down to their 3rd straight trip to the NCAAs. Now, I have to think that the only thing that Xavier really cost itself last night truly was maybe a drop of the seed. There's no question they have to be in.
Well, their resume has been strong. They beat some very good teams. Illinois, VCU, Kansas State, all teams that have NCAA expectations. They also beat Arizona State. But the key thing is I like the fact that this conference is going to get 2 bids in.
Last year, same 2. Xavier, the tournament champions, after winning 4 and 48, and GW was an at-large pick after running the table in the regular season. There's the case for the Musketeers this year, as the three-pointers refuse to fall for the Rams. And so does the dunk by Mbang. And for George Washington, they can start celebrating. 93 years they've been playing basketball. They've never made it to 3 straight NCAA tournaments until now.
The game's not over yet. You better put your uniform back on, Mo Rice. Getting some of the guys, the bench contributors, the support guys, to get on the court and feel it.
Peter LaPlante, walk-on freshman, will get onto the court. Jeff Del Favaro, another freshman walk-on. Meanwhile, the bench, one of the happiest places in America at the moment.
Dave, I asked Carl Hobbs today, at what point this season did you feel like maybe your team could play in the NCAA? He said, not until last night that I even fathomed we had a chance.
They're in. George Washington wins the Atlantic 10 tournament. We're second A-10 tournament championship in 3 years. Their 23rd win, their 8th straight, and they send Rhode Island home. The sliver didn't quite fit for the Rams. The preseason number 11 selection in this Atlantic 10 tournament. 78-69, the Colonials advance to the NCAA tournament for the 3rd straight year. 4 double-figure scores led by Carl Elliott, 17. And for the Rams, a career-high 29 points by Will Daniels. Still not enough. So congratulations to Carl Hobbs and his Colonials. They win the A-10 tournament. For Tim McCormick, Dave Barnett, for our entire ESPN crew, saying goodnight from Atlantic City, New Jersey. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, your exclusive home for the NCAA Women's Tournament Championship. Back to college game day, and let's